Hey friend, welcome to the Branding with Jade podcast. I'm Jade, also known as the Aussie Adventuress, and I left the high-flying corporate world to chase my dreams and build an online business. Now, my biggest passion is teaching you how to get paid to be yourself doing what you love. If you want my secrets on all things personal branding, marketing, entrepreneurship, and making money doing what you love, then lovely, you are in the right place. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Branding with Jade podcast. Yay! Oh my God, guys, can you believe we are in December? It's literally like the last less than 30 days of the year now. It's insane and so exciting because not just are we going into a new year, but we're about to enter a new decade, and that just has so much exciting energy about it. And I'm really excited to finish off this year strong with you all and to really bring you into start of 2020 with amazing momentum and lots of excitement and all the good stuff. So I'm just so happy, so excited at this time of year. And I actually thought I'd be upset because it's my first Christmas living away from home. I've traveled away at Christmas before, but that's been exciting because I've been traveling. So this is my first Christmas where I'm not home with my family, because last year, even though I was living on the Sunshine Coast, I did go back home for Christmas because I had my sister's wedding in January and she had lots of the festivities at the end of December. So I had to go home for that. And so this is my first official Christmas living away from home in my own house. And I thought it would be really weird and really sad, but I'm actually super excited. I just finished putting the finishing touches on my very first Christmas tree, which is so exciting for me because back in the Scarfone household, my mum was very, very strict on how the tree had to look. And even though she asked us for help, she never actually let us do much. She'd always move our decorations to the back of the tree and things went her way and she'd move them. So this is my first official time decorating a tree my way, and it was so exciting to do that. And not just that, but we've got Freddie's sister coming here in a few weeks, and we've got a friend coming to visit. So we're going to have lots of people here with us at Christmas, and it's just a really exciting time of year. So I'm very excited, very happy, and lots of awesome stuff going on. But of course, we're not here to talk about that. We do have a very exciting and important topic to cover today, and it's all about why it's important to know your customer. So you might have seen those letters before, KYC, which is know your customer. And your customer is basically the heart of everything you do online. So it is, or in any business, basically. So it is super important to know who they are. Now, before I get into that, I just wanted to read out a review from last week. And remember, if you'd like to have your own review featured on the show, then go ahead and leave a review on iTunes. The instructions on how to do it are in the show notes. I would love to read what you think because I really do want to make sure that this is as beneficial and valuable to you guys as possible. So I really want to know what you think. Send me your love, send me your review, and let me know what you want to hear more about, what you enjoy, what you don't so much enjoy, and let me make this the best possible podcast for you. So let me just read this one from Mel. It starts as inspirational and down to earth is her title. And then what she said is, for me, Jade and her podcast have come into my life at such an amazing time. While we move into a new decade, and as a mum of 4, I am trying to find myself again, find my true why, and find the confidence to create financial and true freedom in my life. Thank you, Jade, for being honest, real, and relatable. Oh, that just melts my heart. It's so, it just gives me these warm feelings and it's brought a little tear to my eye that people appreciate what I'm saying and that it's helping people out there. Even if it's just one person that I'm helping with each episode, that's a difference that I'm able to make. And it just brings me so much joy that I'm able to do this. And so especially at this time of giving, I just want to give as much as I can because I really love doing this. I love sharing my knowledge. And I've had so many people messaging me recently just about little things that I've shared that have helped them a lot. And I always discredit myself because I think this stuff is easy, but you tend to forget that when you've been doing it for a while, that this kind of stuff isn't easy for everyone else. And so I really am humbled by the amount of people that say that I'm a good teacher and things like that. It really does light me up and it makes me want to keep showing up and keep teaching you. So thank you so much for that, Mel. It really does mean the world to me that you enjoy my show. And to anybody else out there listening, thank you to you as well for tuning in, for downloading, for contributing to my numbers. It really does mean the world to me. Okay, let's get into today's topic, why it's important to know your customer. Now, as I kind of mentioned earlier, without customers, you don't really have a business. Like, I literally can't think of one business that doesn't need customers, whether you're selling products, services, a lifestyle, or a dream. If you don't have someone to sell it to, you don't have a business. And every business is selling something because that's how money is made. So when you think about it, anything out there, if it's too big a business, it's selling something. Otherwise, there's no way they're actually making money. So they're selling something, whether it's a product, a service, or something else. They are selling something to somebody else, which means it is crucial for your customer to be an important consideration in every decision-making process. So every element of your branding, every product you release, every social media post you do, every ad, every video, every live, every little thing you do should have one aim in mind: to connect with your customer in a way that strengthens your relationship and eventually makes them want to buy from you. And the only way to truly understand how to speak to them is to know who they are. So you want to come back and kind of reverse engineer it and think about the actions you want your customer to take. How do you want them to react to something? Do you want them to buy something? Do you want them to comment? Do you want them to sign up for your email list? Do you want them to share something? You need to know what the end goal is so that when you're creating a piece of content, or when you're creating your branding, or dressing for the day, creating a video, creating an ad, whatever you're doing, you need to have the end goal in mind of what you actually want the customer to do so that you can know how to put that out there in a way that is going to make them do that. So if you don't know them well enough, you're not going to know how to ensure that they respond in the desired way. Because if you're talking to, say, a 60-year-old who is retired and has no interest in starting an online business, then you putting your message in front of them is not going to really have the desired effect. Whereas if you're talking to a young millennial who really wants to have freedom in their life and wants to go out and travel the world and be able to earn an income while doing so, then that message is going to speak to them. So that was a very, very broad example, but it's just what came to the top of my head right then. But it is about knowing your customer deeply and knowing what drives them, what they want, what their goals are, and knowing how to speak to them in a way that is going to actually make them react. And what do you know? I actually did come prepared with an actual better example. So for example, one of my ideal clients is a 25 to 35-year-old female working in the corporate world. She loves to travel and she's tired of trading her time for money. She doesn't want to have to wait for her boss to approve her leave. She wants to be able to just book a holiday when she feels like it. But she knows she needs her job to provide security so she can afford to do the things she likes. So she feels stuck. She's searching for a way out but has no idea what else to do. So she spends her days scrolling through social media, looking at everybody else's lives, wondering how they're able to do this and why can't she do this too? And I know this girl. I know this girl deeply because I was this girl. And so it's really good if you can find a way to tie your ideal client to who you are. And especially if you're doing like a personal business like coaching or affiliate or network marketing, it's so easy to tie your ideal client back to who you are. If you're like a big company, that's a different story, but we're always talking about personal branding here. And so when you're building a personal brand, it's so easy to know your customer, because your customer is generally you from like 5 steps ago or a year ago or something like that. So you were at a point where you were having a struggle, you had a pain point, you overcame that, and now your client is someone that is going through those same struggles, they're experiencing those same pain points, and you can be this beacon of light that helps them get out of that if you know how to speak to them right, if you do the research to actually understand and make sure you're positioning yourself in front of them in the right way and connecting with them in the right way. So when I share my stories and when I talk about my journey and when I talk about why I decided to start an online business, it speaks to my ideal customer very deeply, because she's at that same point that I was at, that frustration, that fear that this is all there is to life and that there has to be something more, but she doesn't know what to do and she's searching for something more. And so when my message comes in front of her, it speaks to her so much that she ends up taking action and wanting to work with me because she feels like I understand her. But the only reason she feels this way is because I've taken the time to think about who she is, and I put in the effort to speak to her directly. I talk to her pain points, I talk to her fears, her dreams, her aspirations. And when I talk, this is a very, very important thing that I'm about to say. When I talk, I'm not trying to target everyone. I'm speaking with a very, very clear image of this specific person in my mind, because I know how to talk to her. I don't know how to make that message have as much of an impact on a 50-year-old man, because I've never experienced what they've experienced in life. Not saying that some of them might not end up wanting to work with me, but they're not the client I'm targeting because I don't understand them. I understand a 25 to 35-year-old girl because that's my age bracket. I understand a girl in the corporate world because that's the world I'm from. I understand her pain points, her frustrations, and so I can speak to her. And so the big mistake that I see a lot of people make is that they think that by speaking too specifically, they're going to alienate other people. And by doing that, they're not going to have enough clients coming to them and they're going to scare too many people away. But think about it. Like, if you just talk to 25 to 30, I could go even narrower than that. I could just go to 30-year-old or like 27-year-olds, because that's the age I was at when I quit my job. And it's like that time where all my friends and I, we kind of had these little crises and all decided to do different stuff with our lives. So it seems to be an age when people are looking for something more. And so I could say even more specifically, a 27-year-old girl in the corporate banking world, because that I know how to speak to her even more specifically. So you can get as specific as you want and you can speak really in depth, because still think about it. How many 27-year-old females are in the corporate banking world? Think how many banks there are in the world. Think how many people work in that industry. I'm not narrowing my audience at all. In fact, I'm widening my audience by getting super specific and super niche, because that's going to speak directly to all those people that are in that field. But if I just try to talk about things broadly, the message isn't landing on anybody because it's not speaking to anyone clearly. So it's not having that same effect where they go, oh my God, she's speaking to me. She's in my head. She knows me. So when you know your client deeply, that's the reaction you get from them. They're like, oh my God, you read my mind. Wow, how did you know I was feeling this way? Because I was you. It's so easy when you actually get clear on who your customer is. So I want you to really commit this to your mind right now. When you try to speak to everyone, you actually speak to no one. So think of a specific person and think really clearly of that person and have an image of them every time you are doing anything in your business, because that is how you are going to attract the best clients to you. So if you are not attracting enough clients, or if you're attracting a lot of clients that you don't enjoy working with, it's generally because you're not communicating with a clear and specific customer in mind, or it's because your message is too diluted. So it's attracting anyone and it's not pre-qualifying whether they're the right fit for you. So, for example, back when I first started my affiliate marketing business, like I've told you before, my branding was not very clear. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I was just talking about that message of, do you want to create a laptop lifestyle? I was trying to speak to everybody and anybody, and lots of people do want to create a laptop lifestyle. So I was attracting all these people that I wasn't gelling with, and I wasn't loving it. And it got to the point where I actually argued with some of them because I was like, I just don't like the way you do things. I don't want to talk to you. You bug me. And I know that sounds awful, but they were like really demanding, or they expected, like people in America expected me to answer their questions instantly when I was in Australia in a completely different time zone. And it was just, I just wasn't loving the customers that I was attracting. And so I started to really think about all the reasons why I didn't like them. And it was that they were demanding, they were pushy, they were needy, they wanted things instantly. And I thought, okay, so these people are not my ideal client. I'm going to make sure that nothing in my messaging speaks to them. So I'm not going to talk about making money quickly. I'm not going to talk about doing things like anything that implies that things happen quickly. I'm going to really get clear on my messaging that you have to work hard, that this is something that you can build up on the side, that it's a corporate side hustle, and then eventually you can quit your job if you work hard enough. And so I changed my messaging and I got clear on who I actually did want to attract, because at the same time I was attracting some really awesome clients, and I thought, okay, I love these ones. What do I love about them? I love that they're go-getters. They go and do things themselves. They take action. They're not needy. They're not hassling me all the time. They're just going and getting things done. They're the type of people I want to attract. And so once I got clear on that messaging and I was specific about exactly who I want to work with, that's exactly who I attracted. So it doesn't matter if you alienate people, because they're not your people. The people that are meant to be working with you will resonate with your message. They'll like the way you communicate. They'll be drawn to your energy and your nature and the way your matter of the fact way. They will like that because they'll probably be like that as well. And so the clearer you can get, the easier it is to tailor your message to your customer. And when you do that, you'll find you actually end up attracting way more people to you, because your message is clear and direct and speaks straight to them. It's weird to think of that when you think that the world has however many billion people in it, and you're trying to attract all of those billions. You don't need the billions of people. You only need a few hundred to have a successful business. So if you think about the few hundred people that are in your niche and are your ideal clients, how much easier would it be if you just speak to them directly and you attract all of them to working with you? It'll be pretty cool, right? So get clear, because there's billions of people in the world and you don't need to work with all of them. So, and this is also when you find that you end up having the best interactions, because you're only attracting the dreamiest clients, because you stopped worrying about trying to include everyone and you made it clear exactly the kind of people you work with. So don't worry if you are going to upset somebody. The best business owners do upset people, because then they are themselves. They show up, they're honest, they're open, they're real, and they're not everyone's cup of tea. And that's fine. You don't need to be everyone's cup of tea. All you need to do is be honest, be yourself, hold yourself with integrity, and make sure that when you do get a client that works with you, that you stay true to your word and you help them and you do what you promised them. And when you're honest and real and open in your external content, then the clients that you end up bringing on, you won't have any issues with delivering to them, because you're going to love them so much, because they're going to be so awesome and so like you, that you're going to be so over the moon to work with them, and you're going to go above and beyond to do what it takes to help them, because you're going to be attracting these amazing people to work with you. So Successful business owners really understand what their customers want and the most effective way of making their product or service available to them. So understanding your customers' buying behavior is also very important. And as a business owner, you really need to understand what type of person is most likely to need or want the product or service you provide. So when it comes to thinking about your ideal client, when you're doing your marketing, your ads, your content, all of that kind of stuff, you want to think about things and ask yourself questions like, what's actually their reason for purchasing your product or service? How often are they going to need to buy that product or utilize the service? If you can be proactive with the way you're outreaching to them, and you know the time they're going to purchase, then the chances are they won't look elsewhere, because you'll be front of mind, because they'll keep coming back to you because you're on top of it. Think about who they're buying for. They may not always be buying for themselves. They might be buying for other people. So that's something to think about as well. And where are they most likely to purchase? Most of the time with us, it's going to be online. But you just never know, like online, where are they going to purchase from? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it an ad? Is it an organic feed? Is it a story? Is it a YouTube video? Is it your email? These are all things to consider as well. Where are they actually going to make the purchase? Where are they most likely to take action? And because if your ideal client is a 60-year-old, she's generally not as inclined to be on Instagram or YouTube or something like that. They're usually more Facebook people. Whereas millennials, you can pretty much get away with being anywhere, but millennials are the Instagrammers. Millennials are the influencers and all of that kind of stuff. So you know that if you're going for them, you've got a good chance of getting them on Instagram. So this is another thing to consider. There's so many layers to think about when it comes to knowing your ideal client. And you can see that the more you know about them, the easier it is to put yourself in the right place, to use the right language, to speak to them in the right way, because you understand them so deeply that you can do everything in the way that is going to have the best result. And so you might be thinking, but Jade, I've got a product that suits everyone. So why can't I just talk to everyone? And maybe you do have a product that suits everyone, but just because it's suitable to everyone doesn't mean they're all your ideal client. That's the beauty of network marketing and affiliate marketing businesses. There's so many different types of people selling the same products. So you don't need to target the same people as the person down the road, because you're a different person. And you're going to react differently, and you're going to attract different kinds of people as long as you know who you want to attract. So this is a mistake I see a lot of people making in network or affiliate marketing companies, because they do have this product that can help everyone. And so that's what they say. This product is awesome for everybody. If you want to travel the world, if you want to stay at home with your kids, if you want to talk to your puppies, if you want to do this, and they list 500 different things of all the different people it can help. And all that does is makes a person go, okay, well, they're not talking to me. They're talking to these 500 other people. So when you do have a product that's suitable for lots of people, it's even more important that you get clear on who your ideal client is, because that's what's going to separate you from the 10,000 other people promoting the same thing as you. Because your point of difference is that you target this small audience that is your ideal client, and you speak to them directly, and someone else will speak to other people. So the mistake that these people that speak to everyone do is they just get stuck on features, and they don't take the time to think about why people would actually want to buy it. So if you're in that kind of business, it generally helps to think about why you wanted to buy it. And this comes back to the topic I was speaking about a few weeks ago about why it's important to start with why. Because if you don't know why you bought it, then chances are you're not going to be able to really share a good story, or you're not going to be able to have a strong selling point to talk to your customers about, because you don't even really have any real reason. But if you've got a strong why, then you've got a strong story to share. You've got a really powerful message, and that's going to speak to people who are in the same boat, because chances are your ideal client will have similar experiences to what you've had. For example, if you're trying to encourage people to join your team so you can show them how to build an online business as well, think about why it was that you started. For example, are you a busy mum that didn't want to put your kids in daycare? That's a really good starting point. So you would connect with other mums because you're going to have something in common. The stories you share, the posts you create, the videos you do will all be relatable to mums. Whereas if I was trying to find people to join my own team, I wouldn't target mums because I'm not a mum and I don't understand their lifestyle or what drives them. I know from what other mums say, and I know I've got friends that are mums, and I know secondhand what drives them, but I don't have the personal experiences. I can't talk from experience. I can't make it relatable because I don't have that common experience to share. And so I would target busy corporate women who want more freedom. That doesn't mean I won't attract some mums through my messaging when I talk about wanting freedom to do the things you love, but they're not who I've got in mind when I'm crafting my posts. When I talk about having the freedom to do the things you love, the things I love I'm thinking about traveling, going to the beach, going out to festivals, partying, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I say do the things you love. And so mums would look at that and go, oh, I can spend time with my kids. I can take my kids to Disneyland. I can do this with them. I can do that. So they interpret it differently, but they're not the person I was intending to speak to, but they interpret it in a way that speaks to them. So you can see how you can unintentionally still speak to people that aren't particularly your ideal client, but they can end up still coming and working with you because you've spoken to them in a way that resonated with them. But the only reason it resonated was because you were clear on speaking very specifically to somebody else, and part of that message just resonated with them. So when I write those messages, the mums aren't who I've got in mind when I'm crafting my posts. And if they don't resonate with some of my content, that's okay because I know they're not who I'm trying to speak to. But if a corporate female who I was really trying to attract and she wasn't resonating, then I'd be going, okay, what's not quite right? Why are they not responding to this in the way that I thought they would? Maybe it's time to do a bit more market research. Maybe I need to understand them a little better. Maybe I've been out of that world too long, so maybe that's not my ideal client anymore. So you want to really understand who your ideal client is. And this is something that grows and evolves over time as well, because as you change, as your business evolves, as you move to different levels, then there's different people that you want to attract. You learn things. You learn from experiences of working with clients that you thought may have been your ideal client, and then they turn out to not maybe be so. And so there's so much to learn, and it's something that will be constantly evolving, but it's also something that needs to be front of mind in everything that you do. So let's do a quick recap of why knowing your customer is important to your business. So it helps you create better content that speaks directly to their needs. It helps you to build a stronger know, like, and trust factor. It helps you to attract the best people that you love working with, and it helps you to sell more stuff. After all, everyone's in business to make money, and if you're not selling stuff, it's usually because you're not attracting customers. And if you're not attracting customers, it's usually because you're not clear on who they are. So go and get clear on who they are. And if you don't know how to do that, then you want to come back next week because I'll be doing a follow-on to this episode. I didn't want to give too much information in this episode. So this one, I just want you to understand the foundations of why it's important to know your customer. And then next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you deeper into the subject, and I'm actually going to talk about how to determine who she is. So it's a really big topic, and I want to dedicate the time to you to help you understand it properly. So I didn't want it to just be tacked on to the end of this one. I want it to have its own episode so that you can sit there, you can listen, you can do the exercises, and you can really walk away knowing who your ideal client is. And I promise you, as soon as you know who they are, your world will just literally change. You'll just be creative in a whole different way because you'll have a very clear set goal in mind of who you're actually speaking to, and it'll just make things so much easier. So I hope you got value out of this episode. I really do hope you found it useful, and I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode. Definitely tune in because it really is an important one, and there'll be worksheets to go along with next week's episode as well, where you can fill out all the details on who your client is. So I really do recommend tuning into that one. And that's it for today. So thanks for tuning in, and I will speak to you next week. Thank you again. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't hesitate to write a review, and I will definitely read it out on my next show. So thank you again, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye for now.